Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Ankit and you're watching Mahadev. So welcome back to the third part of the 3D rocket game building series. Previously, we saw how to make the rocket model, the smoke effect, the obstacles and the collision effects. In this part, we will complete the score and high score feature and end this series by giving a touch up to our game. So let's get started. So primarily we will start with enhancing the gaming experience. For that we will move the camera along with our rocket. Let's copy this line and paste it and replace this with our camera. So now we will move the camera along with our rocket. Now we will make corresponding changes everywhere. Yep, this should be good. So now you can see this is a better experience to control our rocket, since we have a better view of the obstacle that are ahead of us. Now let's get back and update the camera positions. We will copy this GSAP animations and paste the same for our camera also. When we reset the game, the camera position must be resetted to 8. Yes. So let's check this out. Yes, you can see when I press R, I get to the default camera position that we have set. So now let's start enhancing the landing UI of our game. We'll add the title box, inside which we'll add the title. We'll add a heading of Rocket 3D. Yes. So one more button to start our game. Let's give it a class of launch, start game. Yes, this should be good. Let's add the styling. For our title box, we'll make it absolute and position it in the center from top, and give it a width of 50% and height of auto, transform. Yes, this should be good. Left, yes, 0%. Let's give title color of white, bit of padding. Time for our title heading. The font family of Poppins, default to sans serifs. We'll give it a weight of 700, font size of 5 rem. Let's add our Poppins. Now styling for our launch button. We'll give it same padding of 5 rem and 1 rem. Yes, this should be good. Let's add a margin top of 2 rem, border of none, border radius of 3 rems. Let's copy our fonts. Now add a font weight of 500. Let's give it a text transform of uppercase. We'll add the same white smoke and a background of RGB 0, 114 and 255. This should be good. Yes, a lot better. We just miss our cursor pointer. Yeah. So now let's position our rocket in our empty space. So we'll first start with declaring a variable which will determine that our game is running or not. We will create a reference to our launch button so that we can set the on click functionality. On launch click, we will send a callback. We will first make the start game to true, and let's give change the default position of our rocket. Yes. Let's copy this. We can paste this up. Let's increase the size over here, the default size. Comment this here. Paste this over here. Okay. We need to add our CDN. So the rocket is visible. We need to add a constant rotation when the game is not on. So we will go to animate and create our if block. If the game is not being started, we will add rocket.rotation.y. We will rotate the rocket. We have a high speed. Let's slow it down a bit. Yes, this is good. Let's increase the size a bit. Yeah, this is a lot better now. Let's reposition the default over here. So we need to set the X and Y position. We'll make it 2. And for the Y axis, let's make it 1.5. Better to make it 2.5. Now inside drop, depending upon the game status, we will decide our mesh size for our particle. Now this is the style for our back button. Let's give it a margin top of 20 pixels. So now we'll point to our back button, and same we will change the style of our back button so that our back button disappears when we click the launch. And we'll also point to the title container so that we can alter its style too and disappear the title block from the screen. Now moving to the functionality of back click. Here let's copy this. We will again reappear our title and make our start game false. Yes, this looks good. We just need to make the transition left so that it does not jumps up. Now let's reverse animation effects. When we click back, we will again reposition our rocket. So we can see the rocket just jumping off. We need to fix many things here. Let's start with animating our rocket's mesh scale so that it resizes over a time period of 1 second. We will use the same values along X, Y, and Z. Let's add ease of power in out. Let's copy this for our rotation. Yes, same values for our rotation. 1.5. Let's comment this over here. Do the same when we click back. We just need to update these values to a larger size, 0 and 0. Let's check out. You can see the transition effect, how the rocket changes the size and the direction in which it's pointing. Let's update this value once the animation has ended. Let's see if this fixes the smoke issue. Let's remove the commented codes and add animation for our position. Over X, this will be all 0. Same we will do for back button. Over here this will be 2.5, 1.5 and 0. This is good now. Let's collapse all this code. Now we'll move to event listeners. And if the game has not started, we won't listen to any key presses, so that our rocket does not move. Same we will do for key up. So let's check our game now. Okay, the smoke issue is still there. And all the animation is happening too quickly. So let's first replace the easing and increase the time period a bit. Okay, when it reaches there, then it starts. Some issue with our variable that we have. But first let's hide our obstacle layers. It's still visible. We won't want to see these obstacles when we are in the landing page. So let's add a bit of rotation too. Maybe that would help. Small value. Let's check. Yep, this removes our obstacle. Let's copy this and do the reverse when we click the launch. So we will change the mesh position over a time period of 2 seconds. So here we'll make this 0. Let's copy all these lines, and for rotation, same we will do when we press back, the reverse of it. This is good. Let's check out. Okay, the angle is wrong, I guess. Yep, the value is reversed. This should be over here. This should be 0. And down there, here, it should be minus 1.5. Yeah, now it's good. So you can see the cool animation effect when the game starts. Now let's start fixing our smoke issue. We'll declare one more variable for stop smoke. So working with one variable, because we have a transition phase when the game starts and stops, that was not working good. So over here we will make it false, here we'll make it true. Similarly, we'll make it false. So this will help us track when actually the animation is happening, the transition between start and end of our game. We just need to add one more condition here. This is basically just monitoring if our transition is happening or not. If this is happening, then we don't want the smoke effect. So you can see that went very well. Once more, it stops and restarts. When we go back, it stops and restarts again. Let's copy this code uh, to assemble our rocket and make it a function so that we can call this function whenever we want to assemble all parts together. We now need to assemble it when we go back once we crash. So now let's check. If we crash now, and go back, this reassembles, but smoke is not coming. I guess something's missing. Okay, so we need to update the has crashed to false because the game has again restarted. This was basically happening before in R press. Let's verify if it's fixed. Let's crash. Go back. Yep, the smoke is now there. Now let's add this star mesh into our project. Over here, we'll create a galaxy. We'll make our sphere geometry a huge sized ball actually. 80, 64 and 64. Now let's create a material 3 dot mesh basic material. Yep. Let's include our image, the galaxy image. We'll set few of the properties now. We'll make it backside and make it transparent. Let's add this mesh and material. We'll combine this and add to our scene, the galaxy mesh. So let's play and see how this reacts to our movement. Left and right is cool, but when we start our game, we should add a good transition effect, like we are moving up and down. Let's add one more GSAP animation to our galaxy mesh. Rotation. So we'll rotate it along x-axis over a duration of 2 seconds. X will rotate 1.5 with an ease. Power out. Let's copy this and undo that action when we press back. Let's check this out. We'll launch. Okay, that was a lot of rotation and unnecessary easing. We don't want that ease. When we go out, reduce the time to. That was good. Let's go back. Yes, great. Now we'll add a footer inside which we'll add our information tag for our instructions. Let's add our instructions and the directory page. These are our CSS. Let's check this out, how it looks. So down you can see one of the page is the GitHub repository. The other is the instruction manual, how to control the game. Now let's add the score bar and the corresponding stylings. Let's see how the score bar looks. This is just basic HTML now. Let's add a logic so that we can save the high score in the local storage. So when the game starts, we will first fetch our score if it's stored in our local storage. Get item, we'll name it Rocket 3D score. So if by any name of this value is stored, we'll assign this to our score variable, and let's point to our score box, the DOM element, so that we can update the DOM. We'll update the inner HTML with the score, and if we don't have score, the default would be 0, and one variable for the current score, and as our game goes, we'll update our score. Let's make this function over here. The current score will update inside the same score bar for now. So the score will be determined by the position where we are, how many obstacles we have avoided. Let's check. As we move forward, our score increases. This is working fine, but we have no mechanism to set the score into the local storage. So if we refresh, we lose our score. So now let's make a logic. If our current score that we have calculated is greater than the score that we have stored, we will again store or reset it in our local storage, the new value. Paste it here. So now this would overwrite our previous score. Earlier we had 0. Let's start the game again, and now we have a higher value than 0. So if we refresh, we again have the same value over here. Again, you can see if we create a lower value, this won't reset our high score. But now if we play well and create a higher value than the previous one, yes, so this should reset our score. Let's go back and see the value is there. Let's refresh. It's still there. So this is working fine. Now we just need to replace the word high score when the game progresses. So if the launch is clicked, we will update its styling and remove the word high score. Actually, yes, let's copy this and paste it for a back. Instead of hiding it, what we can do is that we can rename it. Instead of high score, we can make it score. And again, when we start the game, we can again make it high score. Let's give it a capital and colon. So now it's high score. It turned to score to monitor our current score. And we go back, it again shows the high score. So this brings us to the end of this amazing series. I myself learned many different things building this game. Hope it must have helped you guys. Thank you all for watching, and do like, share and subscribe if you like the content.